The views and opinions of the Nissan Nation podcast are simply that. They are views and opinions of its guests or hosts. They do not reflect Nissan corporate or otherwise. Now, a DRB and KGB media presentation, the Nissan Nation podcast. Hit it, Kelly.
Recorded live, coast to coast, it's the Nissan Nation podcast. From camping, racing, and all points in between. The NNP is your Nissan Nation podcast. Now start your engines and welcome in your hosts, David, Danny, and Holden.
What is going on, Nissan Nation? From all things Nissan here in Middle Tennessee to down south in the ATL, this is your Nissan Nation podcast. And got Mr. Holden down there, buddy. How are you holding the ATL tonight, man? Is it all good down there?
It's very wet. It's been raining for like 2 days straight, and it's supposed to be like another 3 days of rain. So it's that's how it's going. It's
not hot Atlanta right now, is it?
No, it's wet Atlanta.
Wet Atlanta. Man, that sounds like a strip club. I don't even know that.
But not like a nice one. More like the grimy.
Yeah, the one that you don't take grandma to.
Yeah, plastic seat covers. Don't ask questions.
Man, it's been a minute since we've gotten to chat. Everybody's schedule, it seemed like right after Went, just got haywire, and we haven't been able to talk, even though I know we both got some great interviews lined up down the road. Tonight we've got a very, very good interview. You want to kind of give people a heads up before we get into that one?
Yeah, it has been a minute. Well, crazy schedules, and then I've been traveling the country to bring you the Nissan Nation interviews. So we have an interview with Mr. Billy Hayes, corporate Nissan. Had the chance to go down to Jacksonville, Florida for the Florida-Georgia game. And we took our store, we took him and his two kids, because they're huge Georgia fans, to that game. So that was a pretty fun thing to do. Obviously, since we were there, other than having fun, going out to eat, drinking beer and everything else, got to do a quick little interview with him. So that was pretty fun. Then we got to talk about some things that wasn't in the interview, but things coming down the pipeline from Nissan.
Well, you've been toting with some high end VPs there, buddy. Next thing you know, we'll be calling you the VP of whatever you're doing now. Obviously, no Danny tonight, man. We're a little sad about that, but I think currently Danny is in Montana, frozen to the ground. I know he went on a big hunting trip, and the SoCal guy probably wasn't prepared to be in the sheets of ice and snow that they have in Montana. So maybe we'll hear from Danny down the road. Who knows? Maybe we'll get, if flashback to show maybe 2 or 3, maybe the Yeti got him and they've had their way with him.
Yeah, he like posted a picture and I was like, oh yeah, that looks pretty cool. But then like the next picture he posted was like the ground was covered in snow. So just imagining him maybe kind of looking like Jack Nicholson from the end of The Shining.
Right.
Just sitting there waiting for deer, rifle frozen to his hand.
Yeah, that the worst thing is he'll be frozen like that, and then the biggest buck ever will walk right in front of you, and you're like, can't move your fingers because SoCal guy can't deal.
Yeah, guy he's with's going to have to kill an elk and do the whole Star Wars, cut the elk open and put Danny in there to keep him warm.
Poor Dan. It's always fun to kind of pick on Dan when he's not around, because he'll listen to this and he'll text both of us and be like, what are y'all doing to me there, guys?
That's how we run this show. If you're not here to defend yourself,
that's right.
Too bad.
That's right. It's a free for all when Papa Bear's not around. But speaking of Papa Bear, man, you said you were talking privately. Your dad's over in Japan right now, right?
Yeah. Well, he got back Saturday, so that's one thing I'm going to do next is do a sit down with him. Obviously, it was a big, huge dealer advisory board. Went over to Tokyo, right? It's technically Yokohama, Japan. So got to meet with the Japanese, but then also he got to do a tour of the Heritage Museum, which I know he thought was really cool. Got to see, just Nissans from the beginning. So he's got a lot of cool pictures, some cool stories. I think there's some stuff he can kind of talk about without quite talking about. And then there's obviously some stuff where he's under lock and key. I know he did get to physically see the new Frontier, got to see the new Murano, which I'll just say he's super excited about. He told me it's like when the Murano first came out, how it was just completely different looking. Mm-hmm. He said the new Murano's a lot like that. Got to see the new Pathfinder as well. But when they went to see some of these vehicles, it was like you had to put your phone in a bag, then you had to put that bag in a bigger bag, whole thing.
Well,
so
yeah, I know 2020 and 2021 are big numbers for Nissan, man. So yeah, stay tuned to the Nissan Nation podcast for some killer news down the road that we cannot talk about right now. But that's cool, man. Man, that must have been like an in and out trip for your dad, because I don't think he was there a whole week, was he?
No, I mean, he left Monday, came back Saturday. So, but then you get that whole weird, you leave one day, but it's already the next day kind of time travel thing. So jet lag's a bitch, but yeah, you do pick up some time. But then when you come back, because I know when he was coming back, he was like, I'm going to come by. He was texting all us like, I want to come by y'all's houses tonight and give my grandkids their gifts that I'm picking up. But I'm like, you mean tomorrow night? Because tonight is Thursday. Like, he's like getting ready to get on a plane, and it's like Friday there, but I'm like, it's Thursday night here. So
right.
Yeah, you get that whole time travel.
Well, it's funny. I was in a movie last night. I went to see a Star is Born, and if you haven't seen it, need to do a movie review there. But a great movie. Some killer acting in that movie. But I'm in the middle of the movie, man, and I see my messenger go off, and I'm like, who's texting me? And all of a sudden, it's our buddy David Garcia from Australia, and he's like, he just woke up, and this is, I'm 7-8 o'clock our time here in Nashville, and he was hitting me up because there's some guys he wants me to talk to and interview from down there, and he's like, hey man, I'm at work now, and did you have a chance? I was like, work? He goes, oh, I hope you had a great weekend. And I was like, I'm still having my weekend, man. And he's like,
quit bugging me, it's still my weekend.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I completely forgot about that. Clearly, I mean, there was probably an Australian accent to that I'm not gonna do, but I was like, oh man, but it just trips you out, like the world is one place now. It's like I've made all kinds of friends from Africa to Australia, like, and people would just randomly hit you up, and you just, like, the way texting and everything works now, it's just like, it could be your best friend, or it could be a guy halfway around the world. You just never know anymore, man. So, but, yeah, man, we got some killer stuff lined up for a few Overland guys. The king of overlanding down there in Australia, man. If you think we do it here, they really go to the outback, man. But yeah, man. So without further ado, man, I got some things I want to talk about, and I know Holden does too. Oh yeah! Thank you, El Capitan, Mr. Breslin, for that little intro. Man, I'm gonna let you get into this first one, Holden, because I know you've texted us a little bit, and you were excited about what the Arab nations over there got going on, man. I threw it out on Facebook. Let us have it, man. What do they got going on right now?
They got pretty much my new obsession going on. So, long story short, we used to have a farm in our district, and he got moved.
Explain what a farm is, because we're talking to people that don't know.
He's the guy who sells cars to the people who sell you cars. So he's the car salesman to the car salesman. So anyways, he got the big, huge call, I guess, to go out to Dubai. So he emailed me and my dad some pictures of what they have over there called the Patrol Gazelle X. And so did a quick Google search, and I don't know how exactly this got biased, but it did. So we found some new websites to be checking out for more Nissan information. But if you're at your computer, go ahead and Google this, Patrol Gazelle. Nissan Patrol Gazelle. And it's going to take you to, if you click on the first thing, it takes you to my new favorite website, Dave, Nissan-Dubai.com. So this is pretty much the Nissan website for all those rich oil guys. But they got 3 new trim packages, the Falcon, the Gazelle, and the Gazelle X. And it's just something to be drooled over, Dave. Whether you're looking at, I mean, we were talking, they got sub fuel tanks in these things, just all kinds of, I mean, I don't know which one I like the best. I think I like the Gazelle, just the regular Gazelle, because it's not too flashy, but it's just enough. Hidden winches. I mean, so like I said, if you're at your computer, Google this now. If you're driving, pull over and then Google it. It is that important that you need to see this. It is. And once you do that, then you need to get on NissanUSA.com, on their Facebook pages, on any way you can possibly reach them. Message them about this. But then not only that, I'll take it a step further, and you'll understand why I take it this step further when we go through our interview with Billy. Go to your local dealership and let them know about this vehicle. And don't be an asshole. I know there's a lot of you out there who, fuck dealerships. They're a bunch of dealerships, this, that, the other. Whatever. If you have a crappy dealership, I guess don't go there. But if you have a good dealership, go there, be nice, and just tell them about these vehicles. Because I promise you, you want to see vehicles like this, what you got to do is you got to go to your local dealership and let those guys know, because those guys are the ones who let Nissan know, like, hey, I've had 8 customers come in this week telling me about this Patrol Gazelle. It might be worth y'all's time and investment to make something like this.
Well, clearly they've made something like this for quite a while, because it's based on the Y61 platform that they've built for, I don't even know when this platform came out. It's been so many years ago. But yeah, kind of what you were saying before the show, man. What the Middle Eastern countries are a few years behind, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll kind of touch on that. One of the meetings I just had this past week with Tiago and Rich, who are both in charge of Nissan trucks, they were kind of going over the fact that the Middle East, they're about 5 years behind. So you can imagine stuff that's big over there is literally stuff that was big in our market like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So they have to take some of that into account when they build like your new Armadas and stuff like that. Like, why is there so much chrome on this? Well, you know why? Because chrome's kind of big over in the Middle East. So, you know, right now a lot of black is in the States. Guess what? In 5 years, that's going to be big in the Middle East. So essentially what they're saying is they have to balance some of that, because what you have is one Emirate over there, which are the oil guys. The way their culture works is he might have the V8. Then he's got one that's maybe a V8 that his servant drives his sons in, but then you got to split up the sons and daughters. So then he'd have another one that might be a V6 that his servant drives his daughters around in, and then another one that his wife gets driven by her servant in. So like one dude could have like 4 or 5 of these Armadas, so they got to cater to that.
Right. Well, you know, and you were talking about this being one of your favorite websites, man. As you're talking there, I'm looking, and they still have a patrol pickup truck there. I don't know if you saw that or not, man. It's in their commercial section. Give me this right now, man. Other than the bed just kind of looking like something out of the 80s, just give me this truck right now. I'll just put a flatbed on it and be happy, man. Yeah, like Holden was saying, definitely, you know, when I did my interview with Brent over there, like, that's the thing is they want to know what we, the consumer, want and kind of where the direction they need to go. But a lot of times it's just, like you were saying, either people have bad experiences with the dealerships and they just think they're out to get them completely, or they hear it on the internet, or however it works. Definitely, you as the consumer shape those dealerships, even if it's just that. You shape it what they want to buy, because they have to, like Holden was saying, they have to buy cars. It's not like they just, Nissan shoves a bunch of cars on the lot and says, there you go. Like, I'm assuming, like Holden, I know you've talked about things that y'all want to buy for the dealership. Yeah, I'm assuming y'all have a buyer, right?
Kind of. It's not one person in particular. So there's different ways to get cars from Nissan. They have what's called ground stock. Those are vehicles that are already built. And then you have where you can actually order what you need to be built. But it's just really a combination of our executive managers and then our general sales manager and new car sales managers kind of going in there. You always got to carry a good stock of everything. Mm-hmm. You don't want to get too heavy in certain things, but then also what's selling good in your market as well. Like us, we carry a lot of the Platinum Armadas because that's a hot seller in our market. And then just to show you how things can happen, we were doing great with the kicks. We had a huge month, sold a bunch of kicks all right in a row and everything. Last month, we didn't do that good. And it's because Nissan had a slowing down in production with the two-tone kicks. And so there was this delay of getting them. So we didn't have a lot of kicks in our stock last month.
Well, I know Nissan. I know, speaking of kicks, man, like they're having, because if I remember right, they only build those in Brazil right now. And like they cannot keep up with demand for the U.S., let alone I know it's introduced in China now, who has a big craving for that car as well.
Yeah, introduced in China and India as well. So yeah, and so that's what happened is we were doing great with our two-tone. Well, then production so we had this long pause where we had 4 on our lot that were all solid color, white and black base models. So we didn't get any action on kicks. Well, now we've bolstered our stock back up, and now we're starting to see action on kicks. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, there are buyers, but really it's a kind of a combination of all of us working together and picking out things, because that's the other thing. When ground stock or one of these stocks opens up, you got to jump in there quick to get some of that good stock, some of that those primo vehicles, because otherwise you might be left with these weird we just call them Frankensteins, of these weird vehicles with awkward packages that don't make sense for your market that might be good in another market, but for us they're no good.
But I think ultimately too, though, that you guys you're kind of listening to what your customers are looking for too, though. It's not just you're force feeding the customers. You like you were saying, they need, at the ground level, Nissan needs info, and whether it be from a customer like me saying, hey, I want to buy a car from you guys, but you have no body on frame SUV, or hey, I would have bought a GTR from you, but you didn't have one sitting there. Just stuff like that. It's the positive stuff they need. They don't want, the dealer is not going to go and you go in there and go, man, this 2003 front or hard body I've got has just been a hunk of junk. Cause they're like, guys, there's no feedback for that because it's a 30-year-old car. But if you're positive when you go in and I know there was a push for Xterra for a while, and of course that died down since it's not been produced in a long time. But there is still a craving for a body-on-frame SUV. So my Xterra guys, if you want that, man, just start bugging your dealers.
Yeah, give them something to work with. Because from the Nissan community, some of the meetings I've been in, we were just in one. It got a little heated, but there was actual other dealers. So obviously, me, my dad, we obviously have, I don't know, not skin in the game, because we really don't. We're just enthusiasts who love the Nissan Xterra, the off-road community and everything. So obviously when we talk, there's obviously that kind of, oh yeah, that's Holden. Well, he has a lifted one. Of course he wants to see him. He might be a little partial. We had other dealers repeating the same sentiment that, hey, if I had an Xterra, if I had a body on frame SUV, I could make that work in my market. So definitely you got to go in there. And it's like I just showed them a video when they were here with me of a guy, he was on a test drive of a Ford Raptor and hated it, and ended up was doing some Googling. I don't even know how he found it, but he saw the Nissan Warrior. He showed up in my store wanting to order one or wanting to know when it was coming out so he could buy one. I literally asked him, I was like, do you mind if I take a video of what you're telling me right now? Because it was like crazy. It's like, this is what the type of stuff I've been trying to tell Nissan. So I literally took a 2-minute video of this guy saying, hey, I was on a test drive of a Ford Raptor, hated the thing, sounded like a weed eater. He was in one of the smaller engine ones. And he's like, I feel y'all had a Warrior. I would buy it right now. I think that's the coolest looking truck I've ever seen. This, that, the other. And I showed it to those Nissan. Stuff like that is huge. And whenever I get feedback like that, I try to either get them to put that down in writing and email it to me, or take a video. I'll take a video of a customer right there on my lot just to show other people. So, but like we said, it's gotta be positive. You can't just go in there and be like, by God, if y'all would build something cool, I wouldn't buy it from y'all. But when it got used, I'd buy it from them because I don't trust y'all because y'all are a bunch of fucking liars. Like, you say something like that to a guy, he's just like, oh, okay, man. And, I mean, why would I want to help you out when you're saying stuff like that? But, yeah, positive feedback and getting involved with your local dealer, letting them know things because ultimately those are the guys who are going to be selling these vehicles. And if there's a huge demand for it in their market, they run that right up the flagpole to Nissan, and that is a huge thing.
Yeah, because even even though we know corporate America is a lot of bean counters and very few enthusiasts, they everybody wants promoted, so everybody's always looking for that next thing, that idea that gets them move up the food chain, and you would be surprised if one of his people come in that's your regional guy and every dealership is asking for the same thing. And so that guy just starts pushing and pushing within Nissan, man. Everybody's taking notice. So definitely be positive. But back to this patrol, man. So, like you said, man, just their Nissan website for Dubai is pretty freaking awesome, man. They, just being able to see a patrol Safari there that you could actually still buy. I don't know what the breakdown here is. The 152,250 AED. I don't know how that converts to American dollars, but if I had it, I would have one on a container somehow getting back over here.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's the coolest. Maybe not the coolest thing ever. It's pretty close to the coolest thing ever. Just because, just to know that they're still building stuff like that. And like we were saying too, like obviously Nissan has the capability to build stuff. And I'm not saying they need to bring this specific thing over, but some of the things in this vehicle would be things that transfer over to the U.S. market. And for those keeping score at home, the 152,250 UAD or AED, that is $41,449, Dave.
All day long, dude. You're selling that all day long at that price.
That's actually surprising. I was expecting that number to be a lot higher when I put that in the Googleizer.
That's here. Well, let's play. What's the price? I'm going right to the Patrol Gazelle edition because it's the mid range. And let's see if they got a price on this one. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, no price on these, man. You got to register for.
Register interest.
Yes.
Yeah. This is so. Looking at the Nissan Global Newsroom, it looks like these are going to be 19 models. So, yeah, they probably haven't come up with pricing just yet.
I'm still guessing 45 to 50K for one of these, man, which in the U.S. market, you're getting pricey there. But, man, if you know how Toyota a few years ago, because every once in a while the UN and everybody wants the old Series 100 kind of SUV pickup thing they do, and every once in a while Toyota revamps that lineup just so they can sell 1,000 or 2 of those, and then they'll offer the public some. Could you imagine Nissan doing this where every dealership just got one? In America, if a dealership jumped in line, you got one. Could you imagine the upcharge on this vehicle? You would get 70, 80K for one of these things.
Oh yeah, easy. I mean, it would almost be like when the GTR first came out, when they said they were only building so many of them, and I remember there were dealers selling those things $20,000 over sticker.
Yeah, which is now why they're all $100,000 retail too.
Yeah, exactly. And this sounds like, wait a minute, people would have paid that much for them?
Yeah, because GTR was what, $69,000 entry level, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I and one of the Nissan guys who I had the meeting with on trucks, he said it. It was the first time I've ever heard someone from Nissan say it, but he did say it. He said what happened with Xterra and what we did is we got greedy and we priced ourselves out of that market, which I've always said that's what they did. And I told him, I was like, listen, I'm telling you right now, if you ever came back with something like that, I think you need to go back to the true Xterra roots. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Mm-hmm. I would literally come to market with an SV and a Pro 4X trim, and that is it.
Yeah, I'm all day long with you on that one, man. They just like the original. The original one was what, an X and an SE, and that was it. And really between the two, what was it, a Rockford Fosgate engine or something? It was or a Rockford Fosgate stereo. Wasn't much difference.
Yeah. So Nissan, if you're listening, I think you just need to roll out with just a regular Patrol, and then I'll take the what do you say, Dave? We'll take the mid-level, the Gazelle, just the regular Gazelle.
Yeah. You don't need no metal bumper necessarily, man. But you do realize this is a gasoline engine in this Patrol too. It's a 4.8 liter twin cam 24 valve gasoline engine, which Australian people, close your ears now, because I don't claim I know American stuff, but I do like talking your vehicles. I don't know that they ever offered a gasoline engine in that truck in Australia. So really? I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't. Now I'm going to get ate up on. We're going to get all kinds of email going, "Hey man, you're such a dumbass. Why didn't you know this?" But for me as an American, when I see that, man, that they're offering it, obviously there's probably no catalytic converters or all that stuff on these vehicles, but I just love it, man. And when you see the inside of it, man, the detail, there's some things that seem outdated. I mean, you kind of poked at before this show, but ultimately, like, the interior is still freaking nice on this thing. The stitching, of course, it's if you're upcharging for a midsize SUV like this, you better have some nice leather and stuff in there. But just the mid one there, the Gazelle is like just sweet. And of course you're getting a straight axle vehicle, which every off-roader's wet dream seems to be that. But it's coming with it looks to be 17 or 18 inch BF Goodrich KO2s on it, and I don't know, buddy. I mean, it's the Gazelle all day. I mean, just running through the main equipment. I mean, you got the sub fuel tank comes on that one, rear diff locker, air snorkel,
keyless entry system, so you still get that. It's real nice. Rear fog lamp. And then additional equipment is going to be your remote reservoir shocks, 2-inch lift kit, analog dual compressor, winch, fender flares, the blackened headlight and tail lights. Oh, this is the one I like. Rear roof spoiler with flag holder. Like, that little details like that. It comes with decals. It comes with freaking flags. Like, it's literally, you buy this thing, it has the fucking flags on it, Dave. Like, you can literally buy it and then take it off road without doing anything else.
Well, didn't the Xterra there for a while come with a little flag? I'm pretty sure it did, because I've seen them all over eBay.
I wasn't driving age when the Xterra first came out.
Well, sorry. Let Papa Boyd here talk to you about the Xterra. But you know, like it's definitely like, at one time I would have said, man, this is a super luxury vehicle, and if you take the leather seats out of this, I would say this is just a normal vehicle in America now. You know, besides the snorkel on it, like the way it's built, the winch and everything about it is just how it should be done from the factory, man. It's just, go check this out at Nissan/Dubai.com. Check it out. You can see for yourself. You can drool, and then just start poking your local dealers. But getting back to their website a little bit, man, just kind of browsing through there. Of course, you know, when I built the Xterra, it was always amazing to me. You always knew if you seen the where it was going, because you would see they like to put 4-liter on the side of or on the back hatch of the truck, but then you'd always see the Arabic writing on the mirrors, you know, for closer than that. But let's see crossovers. They've got the Kicks over there. They've got X-Trail, which is our Rogue. They've got a Pathfinder. They've got the big Patrol, or what we call an Armada, and then the Safari Patrol. Sports cars, I was a little surprised that they get a 370 over there. I knew GTR, but I would have never thought of 370 over there. Nismo vehicles, it doesn't say, but I know they've got the you can get the killer GTR Nismo stuff. You can get an Armada or a Patrol Nismo, which is like, it really is a Nismo. In commercial vehicles, their vans are pretty sweet, that you can buy a bus, basically. It's called the Civilian. But like I went back to that patrol pickup, man. It just, when you see this thing, I mean, it is kind of out of the 80s, 90s, but it's just, do your calculator here. So you can get a starting price at one of these, Holden, at $145,950. So give me an idea what that would cost me in
$145,950
in the old Googles.
$39,734.
Now, Holden, if you look at the bed of this thing, this bed is straight from the 70s. It's just trippy how they've mounted this old bed to a more modern truck, but then you see the dual gas tank in it. You're getting the extra tire on it. Oh, man, just everybody else in the world has fun, but we don't.
Is it solid axle? It looks solid axle.
No, it's a solid axle vehicle.
Oh, dude.
It's a leaf suspension is what it says.
And just think about that. Like, look at this vehicle. It's a sweet little vehicle, but the rear tailgate still has the latches.
Yep.
Like, it has latches. And for $5,000 more, you're looking at the Patrol Gazelle.
Right.
Like, that's crazy. Like, as cool of a vehicle as this is, it's just crazy that for $5,000 more, what you could get.
Well, what trips me out, okay, so it says you can get a petrol 4.8-liter six-cylinder in this thing. It says the 4.8-liter 24-valve gasoline engine delivers excellent power and acceleration while still boasting low fuel consumption. Now, I don't know what their considered low fuel consumption is, but I'm guessing it's not to probably our standards. But it says, with all of the best of Nissan reliability and engine technology. Yeah, if we could get one of those over here, I'd be a happy puppy. But there's other things in the news to talk about with Nissan. They just released October sales figures, and I know this is a favorite among our loyal listeners. And I'm not going to go through every number because I know some people just would like just get the news ready and you'd find them in their closet after listening to the show. But there was a couple things that stuck out to me. One being Maxima. Their sales are way down. I don't know if it's because people were anticipating the 19 coming out, just like it is with the Altima. I mean, obviously Altima is, this time last year they sold 17,863 of those bad boys, and currently they're sitting at 13,406. So it is way, way down, about a 17% decrease.
Yeah, that's a mix of obviously people waiting for the newer ones to come out, but also it goes back to, just like I was saying, dealers not buying a lot of them. I know we're carrying a very minimal amount on hand.
Just because you knew the changeover?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
you just don't want to get stuck with a lot of them.
And I think about that stuff, and before the show when I was looking at these numbers, I was thinking about that stuff. But, Maxima shouldn't be there just yet, right? I mean, it gets released next week, I think, at the LA Auto Show. But, Altima, yeah, everybody knew Altima was coming for several months. And Maxima, it was a little quieter with the refresh. So I wouldn't have thought, because you've always said these numbers that I read out, those are actual sales numbers, right? That dealers have sold. So it's not. Yeah. So it's not dealers kind of forecasting. I would think it's what the consumer wants. But let's see. This time last year, the new Leaf was getting ready to hit, so its numbers were way low for 17 at 213, but they are up at 1,234. Juke, there were still 7 of them out there somewhere that people were buying. The 370Z just keeps dwindling on down. This time last year, they sold 410 of them, and we're at 290 right now, so that's about a 24% decrease. GTR's trugging along at 20, which is they don't care about that. That's if they probably sold 3, they'd be happy. See, something that stood out to me in the sort of SUV line is Kicks. 3,264 of those bad boys, and I bet they would have sold another couple thousand if dealers probably could have got those.
Yeah, it's definitely the production. Well, because they only produce 35% of the two-tone roofs, and that has surprised the crap out of Nissan that's been so popular. Mm-hmm. Which I don't know why it's surprising. Like,
it's different. It's
different, and that's a lot of these younger buyers. I mean, To me, it's one of the best value cars out there, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Nissan dealer.
Well, initially you were kind of hard on this car.
I was hard on the way it appeared, and just some. Well, when you paired it with, like, you had Rogue Sport right there, then you have Rogue, but when you actually sit down and look at it, go look at all the technology you get for $20,000. It's almost crazy how much they've packed into it. Mm-hmm. And I think the kicks pretty much is going to end up completely killing off what small segment Rogue Sport did have, because it makes no sense whatsoever to get a Rogue Sport when you can get all this.
Rogue Sport,
you should either step up to the Rogue or move down to the kicks if you're even looking at a Rogue Sport.
Well, Rogue Sport seemed like that they didn't want to make the Juke anymore, and it was just sort of filling a hole. You had the Koshki or whatever they call it. You had a car that you could easily pump over here real quick, and it just like it was filling a hole till they figured out, did we want to bring the kicks in and bring it back into that segment?
Well, I think it goes back to what you were just saying a little bit ago. There's always that one guy in Nissan who's looking for the next big idea. Mm-hmm. And I think he thought this was the next big idea. And yeah, it was huge in Europe, but it was also huge in Europe in a market that doesn't have the Rogue.
Yes.
So,
and even though it is different looking, it's way too similar. And the body size isn't that much different, man.
And the price is the biggest thing. The price is, because they're not putting a lot of incentives on Rogue Sport, whereas there's pretty good incentives on Rogue, because obviously Nissan wants to keep, claiming the fact that we have the best-selling SUV in America. So there's substantially large discounts on Rogues pretty much every month. So once you get those incentives, it almost makes sense to just go ahead and get the Rogue, because you're getting a nicer model.
Yeah. So, and the Frontier stands out to me because it's just the little truck that keeps on trucking. This time last year, they sold 6,219 of those bad boys, and currently they are at 6,302. Now, as a guy that likes to look at numbers across the board, that's not, when you see what Toyota does with their truck, it's a little disheartening. But still, that truck is how old is that? What is 13, 14 years old now, something like that? It just trips me out.
Well, think about it though. You're selling that many of a truck that you've spent. They don't spend any redesign money, any R&R money, no research and development. Like, that initial investment you made years and years and years and years and years, and about 10 more years ago, is still paying off. So it's kind of crazy when you think about it. I mean, you've had some minor changes, but as far as the R&D dollars, that would be something that would be mind-boggling to look at. Like, the initial investment dollars taken for inflation, how much money have you really made off that initial design of that vehicle?
Oh yeah. It's every car sold is ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching for them, and I don't blame them on that. Even though everybody's itching for the next thing. One number that did stand out to me is Titan. They sold the exact same amount of Titans this time this year as they did last year, 4,114, which just trips me out. They sold the exact same amount, but Titan is up. It's up about 5% than what it has been. So they've sold 41,953 of them bad boys. And of course, I've always heard that number was, let me sell 100,000 Titans and a Warrior comes around, and we're well past that 100,000 mark, and no Warrior yet. So whoever said that with Nissan, people are watching you.
Yeah, but I'm watching you.
Yes. Can the Warrior come out and play, as you like to?
Yeah.
And somebody caught that on the social medias. Somebody caught where you got that from, and they were like, "Dude, we love that movie reference." And I was like, Holden would be proud of that one. Let's see, Pathfinder
is a good movie.
Pathfinder is down a little bit. Armada's the strange one to me, because it's still a pretty fresh design, right? 17 is the first year of that one, or is it 16?
17.
So, it's down almost 1,500 cars this time last year. And of course, I like the current Armada Patrol. But it's definitely, everybody's seen this truck globally. And of course, if you see Infiniti, you've seen this truck for quite a while. So everybody must be ready for a refresh on that one. Rogue's down a little bit. Murano keeps selling like crazy too. The one I want to go into is the Envy vans. Now, Holden, do y'all sell any of the commercial vans?
Yeah, we do. We've always sold Envy 200s. We just a couple months ago got into the full line commercial. So those are your bigger ones.
Would they I know the Envy is based, or the Titan is based on that platform, so it definitely helped paid for that vehicle, but it just doesn't seem like they sell a ton of that vehicle to keep producing it. I mean, Xterra sold more numbers than they're getting out of this thing. They're only at 13,568 for the year. Now, granted, that's not an advertised vehicle, and there's no reason to advertise that, but it's just hard to believe that they sell enough of that to justify it. At the rate that Canton is doing trucks now, it's hard to believe that you want to waste time with that one.
Yeah, I think it's something. I think there's money to be made there if they approached it right. Just like Titan, I know the numbers don't show. I still think there's a bigger market for that than what they might have going. Just because if you start thinking about who makes, commercial vans now, a lot of these manufacturers are getting out of that. Chevy's gotten out of with their smaller transit van, because I know we got lists to call the smaller Chevy vans to try to sell those companies NV200s and things like that. Mm-hmm. So you got Dodge. I'm not as familiar with the commercial line to know who else has them, but I think Ford's out of them or doesn't make as many. So I think there's definitely room for Nissan to move in there. It's just like with trucks. I mean, you just got to get your name out there and have people know that you're making things like that. Talking to some of these factory guys, guy flies in from Japan. He always wants to get one of the XD diesels. And mind you, he's in Nashville. And someone at a gas station stops him and says, I didn't know Nissan made a diesel truck. And so he's telling me the story, and I'm like, that's what I've been trying to tell people. To be on someone's shopping list, you have to at least get your name out there and be on the shopping list.
Yeah, you got to show up on the list.
Yeah, you got to be on the list. Because I'm a firm believer the Titan's a great product, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be on someone's shopping list. But it's the fact that it's not.
You ride in the version that me and you have, the Pro 4X with the just full leather and everything. That's the nicest truck I've ever been in, man. I really do think that my lease will be coming up within the next year, and I'm thinking, what's my next move? And of course, I've talked to you about Armada and some of my needs, but there comes a point where I do consider other brands sometimes of maybe do I need to just go ahead and buy a Ford F-150, but when I see the insides of those vehicles, and yeah, you can spend a ton for the Lariat or whatever they call their high-end stuff. Man, the Pro 4X leather package is a bargain compared to all those vehicles, and you're still getting an amazing motor, even just the normal gas version, man. I'm always amazed because I grew up in a GM household, and I pulled with Dad's Silverados and all this stuff. And of course, every year you do expect the trucks to get stronger and better, but this truck pulls like, it's just incredible what it'll pull my Xterra around the country and just doesn't bother at all. And of course, it'll ding the fuel mileage a little bit, but even at that, it's not been like it used to be in some of these trucks.
Well, and here's the other thing. As long as you're driving, reasonable distances, 20,000 miles a year or so, let's say you bought a Ford, let's say you bought a Nissan Titan, in 4 years, when your leather seat, something happens with it, the track stops working on your electric seat in 4 years, how much does that cost you in your Ford? Mm-hmm. $800 for electric seat motor. How much does that cost you in your Nissan Titan?
$0.
Nothing, because it's under warranty. Like, that to me, why you're not just always hammering that home. Like, hey, years 4 and 5 of maintaining your Ford vehicle or your Dodge vehicle or your Chevy vehicle, hey, you're paying for that stuff. Nissan, you're under 100,000 miles, that's covered. That to me is huge.
Well, I do have to smirk about this. So one of our buddies, James Soto, who he's a big Xterra guy, man, and he always comes down to win. And I've known James for quite a while. He was on the old Book of Faces the other day. He was like, "Man, third time in the shop, and this warranty is really paying for itself." And I just had to giggle because I was like, "Yeah, that's that Ford, man." I mean, yeah, but and I know that every car there's lemons and there's always a vehicle that's problematic. But it just struck me funny that somebody was like, "Man, my warranty it's really paid for itself," because you're like, you shouldn't even ever need it, but you could have bought like a brand new vehicle and you're covered well beyond that one.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, it's huge, and Nissan's doing a little bit better of a job with some of their marketing. I know there was a dealer meeting today for the Southeast region, and some of the dealers got a little heated with the marketing people because it seems like sometimes here recently, like, you need more than just a road commercial. Like, get the Titan out there. If you want to be truck market, you got to market that truck. So I do think there's definitely room for them to grow. And just like we were saying with the commercial, I think there's room to grow commercially too. I mean, a lot of people just don't even know that Nissan makes those NV vans, and they have a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Nice.
So if you're a business owner, that's huge. I have a
large family who I found out through Googling or the Facebook. So I was looking for some people to interview with those things. And I thought, we do see some off-roaders and Overlander guys that are using those. And somehow I got into Envy Family on Facebook. And I was like, oh, what a cute little name to name their off-roading thing. And come to find out, it's just nothing but people with like 10 kids in their Nissan van, man.
Well, I saw 3 of them because I just went to Disney a couple weeks ago. I saw 3 of them, and one of them was had to have like a little leveling kit or something, wheels, tires, a rack with a ladder, and the guy had bed lined all the bumpers and everything. It actually looked kind of cool. Like, I mean, I wouldn't want it, but it was kind of like, all right. If you're gonna have 8 kids and have to get one, like,
yeah,
that's at least the way to go.
Well, and kind of ending with these numbers. This kind of gets me to a topic, and it came out with Ford is sort of in trouble right now. They're just scattered all over the place. They always brag that they didn't take any federal money when everybody was going bankrupt, but they killed themselves in a sense that their credit ratings were like garbage forever, and they got out, and guess what's happening? Their credit ratings are going garbage forever because you start announcing that, hey, we don't want to make cars anymore. We just want to do trucks and a Mustang. And then, hey, let's do a 4-door Mustang, which word on the street's coming out. And like Ford has always been, for the American companies, that solid, man, they've always been solid, where GM's always been a little scattered. But Nissan has its own little scattered brand, and I haven't talked to Holden about this just yet, so this will be a surprise. Infiniti. And we don't talk a ton of Infiniti in here because, as we all know, for the most part, they used to just be rebadged Nissans from Japan. But they've really, over the past 15 years, they've really tried to become their own luxury brand, and a lot of the technology now that Nissan wants to try out, they push in Infiniti, much like GM does with Cadillac and stuff. Let the people that can afford for the dealership costs, let those people have it first. But I got to looking at Infiniti, and of course you guys have heard me on the show before, man. It's a cluster mess of each year. Are they changing the name of the car? They started out with Qs, and then they went to Gs, and then QXs and Q50s, and so it's been a mess. But I start looking at the numbers, Holden, and they don't justify a brand anymore. And I know that sounds mean to the luxury guy out there that loves his Infiniti, because I love the G35 I owned, and I do dream of owning a Q70 one of these days. But when I look at their sales numbers recently, dude, it is a kind of a joke. I look at their total sales numbers for the year before I break this into this. 117,129 cars. Let me scroll up here real quick and look at just what Altima does. Altima, one car does 180,000 in vehicle sales right now. Let's scroll back down here to Rogue. Rogue, 337,000 vehicles sold. And now we go back to Infiniti. Sell me. You're a car salesman, Holden. Sell me on why Nissan needs Infiniti anymore.
That's a good question, Dave.
I love catching you off guard with this.
They need it because Renault has Infiniti, and Renault also owns a lot of Nissan. So to keep Renault happy, they have to keep Infiniti happy. I don't know. Let's play a fun game. How many of those sales of the 116,000 are the QX56?
Well, they don't make a QX56
or the
anymore.
60, whatever
the big boy
slash
it's
the
QX80. Let's see.
QX80 now.
Currently, 15,114 sales. Now
15.
at $90,000 a piece, you're making some scratch on those.
So 15,000. How many sales was it year to date for Armada?
Let's see, Armada. Where'd you go, Armada? 27,732 of them.
And I would bet you this, that if you got rid of the Infiniti, you could almost add all those sales into Armada.
Mm-hmm.
Guarantee it. I know for a fact I can point out customers that I have lost to Infiniti that were looking at their Armada because the Armada is essentially the same vehicle, just cheaper. You know why they did not buy the Armada and went to the Infiniti?
Because the Infiniti nameplate?
No, because Infiniti comes in monotone color, and the people did not want the two-tone Armada color.
Really? And you've touched on that a little bit last show, but I never really knew where you were going with that. What is
you know why Armada does not come in a monotone color?
You said something about parts.
Because of Infiniti.
Really?
They do not want to encroach on the Infiniti sales numbers. So I guess when you're selling that little, you don't want nothing. You don't want to decrease those numbers. But yeah, that's actually one of the reasons they don't want to encroach on the Infiniti. That's the difference with the Infiniti and their Armadas. And so I've literally had customers that paid a little bit more because they wanted the monotone. They did not want two-tone. And I got to agree with them. I know Nissan's talking about actually doing it and maybe the platinum trim levels with the Armada, but it's just one of those things. It just makes absolutely no sense. I mean, Infiniti, I do know they do experiment with a couple things that they end up bringing to Armada, just like your variable compression turbo motor. I mean, other than that, I can't really think of a reason why you have it. It's not like it's not really even that luxurious of a luxury brand. I mean, we've had these discussions. Are luxury brands still even luxury brands anymore with how far some models have come?
Yeah, because you look at, I'm always bashing Nissan for way too many SUVs. And just within Infiniti, you've got a QX30, you've got a QX50, you've got a QX60, you've got a QX80. And yeah, man, to me, if you want to do Infiniti, you do it as a high-end Nissan deal, kind of like what Genesis is to Hyundai now. Let premier dealers just sell your high-end stuff, if you want to call it that, but make like 3 vehicles and that's it. You make a high-end QX80 or you make the car a high-end Q70 and just be done with it, man. I just before the show I was looking at the numbers, man, and I know obviously a lot of this is upcharge. Like the QX80 is a major upcharge for that vehicle, but at the end of the day, you were saying, yeah, it probably steals sales. So that would put them at about 42,700, say, Armadas if they just did that they sold. let's go back to these numbers real quick, and y'all have bear with me because I'm doing this on the fly. Let's see, 15,000 times, I'm going to say 90,000 because that's about where they're at. So that'd be, my calculator does not like that. Let's go over here to the 15. Like I said, bear with me, everybody. Times 90. So that would put them at 1.35. What is that? All right. Is that a... No, that can't be right. These numbers I'm looking at. 1,350,000,000,000. Is that a bill I'm looking at? Yeah, $1.3 billion for that. Does that sound right? No, that can't be right, Holden. So do the math with me here, Holden. So
I'll do the math, Dave.
Sorry, man.
What do you want to know?
So $15,000 or 15,000 cars is what Infiniti sold.
Yeah.
All right, and they're roughly about 90,000 a piece, roughly.
So yeah, 15,000 times 90,000. Yeah, $1.35 billion.
All right, now let's take 27,000 Armadas, and what you give me a roughly average price for the Armada retail?
I mean, when you add up all the trim levels, probably 55,000.
All right, so do that math for me.
$1.485 billion.
So, like you were saying, yeah, I mean, I know it's a lower volume, but I really think that ultimately you make more money if you just called it a Nissan. I mean, I know that doesn't sound right when you go, well, okay, 1.3 versus 1.4, and there are a lot more numbers, but at the end of the day, you've got to take in the badging and all that cost associated with, there is slight differences to these vehicles, but anyways.
And you got to remember too, it's not like they're just making bukus of money more on an Infiniti than they are the Nissan. I guarantee you the actual net profit and everything is probably fairly similar. I mean,
what would justify that?
What's that?
What would justify the price being somewhat similar?
Well, I'm saying the net profit. I'm
Right.
sure their cost of building the Q80 is probably pretty similar to building their Armada. So,
well, do you think like
I don't know. I've always thought that Infiniti needs to trim down their lineup, but then too, I mean, if you sit in both their cars, I've had people that have come over from Infiniti to get the Armada, and they're like, this is the same car.
Yeah.
So there's not this big, huge wow factor that's really setting them apart in the first place. It's just like the Maxima and the and Infinitis. I mean, as these cars get nicer and nicer, I mean, you're seeing these new Altimas is a very nice vehicle. So it begs the question, are there still real luxury vehicles like Mercedes, BMW? Are they really that luxurious still?
Right, and that's kind of where I was leading with this is for the drain, I think, other than, I guess, like you were saying, they bring some of the new tech there first, so those people are willing to pay for that. Other than that, it sort of drains the company that the resources that, because if you think about it, like I said earlier, generally the early Infiniti stuff was just Nissans that you couldn't get in America. So they wanted an American flashy brand. So they were, the G35 was really a Nissan Skyline. I could go through a few of the others, but it was just stuff that the American audience couldn't really get. And so they just badged it as a Nissan or as an Infiniti. And now I see that they've really taken their own design, and I think it's a good looking car, and you could always have that Mazda versus Infiniti fight of who designed it first. But it just trips me out. Well, as I was going through these numbers tonight, and I'll end this here in just a second, that do the ends justify the means kind of thing? And for the limited numbers, when I'm showing that Ultima alone or Rogue alone is almost $10 billion a year. You know, you think about that, and then you look at like the little QX 50, which is, I know it's not complete Rogue, but I think there's some of the Rogue in it. And then like their partnership with Mercedes for the QX30 and all this, it just boggles my mind that there's profit in something like that. And I'll let you have the final word on it, Holden, but it's a confusing thing to me, and I know it's probably confusing our audience, and I'm not helping.
No, I mean, I definitely think obviously they're making money, otherwise they wouldn't keep doing it. And it kind of begs the question, could you do something better? Could you maybe combine the brands more and have kind of like you were saying with the Genesis? I don't really know. I mean, I know we sell, we always having to drop off parts at the local Infiniti store down the street from us because they don't carry enough parts in stock. So there's all kinds of weird, when you start getting these corporations, they're all melded together, especially now, like you're seeing with Mitsubishi, Renault, Infiniti, Nissan. There's some research and development that I'm sure Infiniti might be doing for Nissan. There's checks and balances in it. I think they could do a better job of making Infiniti more of its own brand, and even maybe more luxurious might drive some traffic there. But at the end of the day, I'm sure there's guys a lot smarter than us that have counted all the beans, as we say. The bean counters have checked it all out, and I guess they're still making money in some ways. I just wish it didn't hurt some of the Nissan sales, like I said, with Armada, just with them not even wanting to do a monotone Armada because it would hurt Infiniti sales. I think that's when it becomes a problem, is when you could possibly be hurting another brand because you're trying to protect the brand, when at the end of the day, it's all the same pocket, realistically, when you get that high up the chain.
Right. And speaking high up the chain, let's get to this word from our buddies over at Lifestyle Off-Road.
What is going on, everybody? Let me talk to you a little bit about Lifestyle Off-Road. What is Lifestyle Off-Road? What do they do? Well, let me tell you, they make custom t-shirts, they make custom graphics, stickers, you name it. They also have their own line of clothing. I wear a lot of it, man. I personally like their designs and what they do, and how they support, the off-road community, and especially the Nissan community. So if you need something from custom stickers, I love you grandma, whatever you want to put on your car, maybe family reunion t-shirts, maybe t-shirts for your club or event, give them a shout over there at www.lifestyleoffroad.com, or check them out on Facebook at Lifestyle Off-Road. Be sure to tell them the NNP sent you.
All right, just like the ad says, man, if you need anything at all, give our buddy Luke Panko over there at Lifestyle Off-Road some business, or at least a chance at your business, man. He likes one-off stuff and all that, and I know he's done a lot for Regal and Holden over there, so at least give him a chance.
Yeah. Don't give him a chance. Just go do it. Go do it for Luke.
As Nike says.
I'll put it out there.
Just do it.
Just go.
Just go. I like that. So tonight we have a special. We got two things coming up. Tonight we have a special interview with what is exactly his title? It's a VP. Of course, there's a ton of VPs within Nissan, but he has a kind of a special title. It's
he is the Vice President of Nissan Regional Operations. So pretty much all the regional guys who are in charge of each region report to him. So he's essentially kind of, I like to say he's kind of the conscience of Nissan, because he has a lot of experience at the dealer level. So he brings a conscience, maybe even a soul, if you will, to some of these dealer boards. He sold cars, everything like that. So essentially you got your whole country split up into regions. All those regional directors report to Billy. So the dude's he's just a freak of nature, man. I know he just got back from Japan too, and I was talking to him, and he, like, on the plane ride back responded and wrote 550 emails. The guy just is nonstop, gets back from flying to Japan, meetings all that night, works works 6 to 11 the next day. But he's just a down-to-earth, really cool guy. You'll hear in the interview, he's just a really fun guy to be around. And he's one of those guys, he's way smarter than me, but we can have a beer and talk shop and even just talk sports. So it's just a really fun time. And so, yeah, without further ado, we'll get to that interview.
Let's do it here on the Nissan Nation podcast.
All right, what is up, guys? This is Holden. We're down in Ponte Vedra, Florida. Just got done with the Georgia-Florida game yesterday. I'm here with Billy Hayes from Nissan. And Billy, how was the weekend?
What an unbelievable weekend, Holden. I think it's a Holden effect. UGA taking home the victory. Last night, the Red Sox.
Yeah, so Billy's a Red Sox fan, so we just had all types of victories this weekend, so super excited about that. So, Billy, why don't you tell our listeners exactly what you do for Nissan? Y'all got a ton of long titles, fancy titles, and sometimes people are always asking, like, what exactly does that guy do? So why don't you tell our listeners exactly what you do?
Well, you know me, brother. I'm just Billy. No, I run the 8 regional offices for Nissan across the United States, responsible for supporting our dealers and supporting our customers. How's that for a title?
That is something for a title. So obviously we got a lot of truck guys, super into trucks and things like that. I know you worked on trucks. Trucks is one of your babies. So it's always nice when I know sometimes people ask, what exactly did some of these guys drive? Do they drive Mercedes? Do they drive what do they drive? So why don't you tell our listeners what you drive? Because I think it's really cool what you drive.
Oh, man. You know what I drive, huh?
Yeah.
I'll be watching out for you. No, I drive a Titan.
Yeah.
Did all kinds of stuff to it, lifted it with our Icon lift, a 3-inch lift, put some 35s, 20s, replaced the bumpers, put some lights on there, blinding the neighbors out. Put the EGR rails on there with the removables.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did some stuff to it.
Yeah, so I just think that's cool.
Good, man.
Yeah, you got a guy
it's
from
handsome.
corporate who...
It's not obnoxious. It's handsome.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice touch. Took off the Pro 4X decals, made it real clean looking. I love the truck. It looks great. So why don't you tell our listeners what's something that's maybe coming down the track that you can talk, obviously there's things you can't talk about. Well, what's maybe something that's either coming down the track or happening now that maybe that you're excited about, something that you really see as a big opportunity?
Well, I hate to deviate from trucks here, but I'm real jacked up about this Altima. I mean, this thing is dead sexy. We got all-wheel drive coming. It's first time for us. It's going to open up markets that we've not been in before and open up opportunities we haven't had before. System is fantastic. Wait till you see some of the comparisons on the actual all-wheel drive system, the intelligent all-wheel drive system. Things packed with technology, and again, it is just damn good looking.
Yeah, and we do talk about trucks a lot, but we've been talking about the Altima. I love it. I personally think it's an awesome vehicle. Waiting to get one of the all-wheel drives in to where we can drive that. I haven't got to drive it yet, but my dad, he drove it out in Phoenix. He came back ranting and raving about it. So I think that's great. I mean, new color, sunset drift, that's going to be huge. So maybe something else. What's something right now other than the Altima? Is there anything else maybe that you're excited about?
Man, what's been doing really well is the kicks.
Yeah.
So that's just hit a part of the market. Again, a part of the market we haven't really been in before. It's opening up all kinds of things. People just want that technology in that packaging. And it's really, really taken off well. And we've really simplified it too. I mean, you basically get it in 4 flavors, and a two-tone. The two-tone has become really, really hot. We can't build enough of those things right now.
Yeah, so the two-tone, we were talking about that already, how I can't keep them on my lot because people want them so much. The color studio is obviously huge. The technology, and just at that price point, is huge. And we were even talking where y'all are even possibly looking at having to add another booth for those two-tones. That way you're not having to paint it twice. Is that correct? Shh. Oh, don't say that. Shh. Okay, we'll edit that part out.
You don't have to edit it out.
So kind of wrapping things up, you've been with Nissan a pretty long time. What's one of the things in your career that you're maybe most proud of, one of the biggest accomplishments maybe you had, something that you really said, hey, I really enjoy, maybe something you just really enjoyed working on?
Man, I wake up every day and there's something different, there's something new. I love supporting the dealers, I love supporting the people on the front line and our customers. I mean, there's never a dull moment with customers, this.
Oh yeah.
But just supporting the customers, we've got something for everybody. So you never know what's going to happen every day when you wake up, and you get that customer call, you get an email, or somebody's really, really happy, car saved their life. I mean, these are the things that really, really make the job and make just waking up every morning worthwhile.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what I say. This industry, this business, every day is a fresh, different day at work. You're not working the same job all the time. So car industry is awesome. Let me ask you a little fun question. What has been your favorite Nissan model, vehicle? Out of all the vehicles Nissan's ever had, is there one that's like, hey, this is my favorite? Current, past, present, whatever.
Man, that's a tough question because, my experience with Nissan goes back to when I was a little kid, and I actually helped my grandmother buy a Pathfinder, 1987 Pathfinder, 2-door, and that was at that time that was an awesome machine.
Oh yeah.
But helped my grandmother buy that car. Man, there's been so many cars over the years, through the Maxima, especially in the 90s. I mean, those were just wrecking it. They were awesome. I can't even pick a favorite. And Jackson, can you pick a favorite? What's your favorite Nissan? I mean, people say GTR's an incredible machine.
No, I mean, the Pathfinders are fun. That was one of my first vehicles, was a 1988 2-door, the blue Pathfinder. That was like the best rig ever. It was 4-wheel drive, but then you could camp out of it, do anything you wanted out of it. I love that car. And that's what I like about you, Billy, is you're not just a guy who crunches numbers, this, that, the other. Obviously you do all those things, but you're also an enthusiast. You actually, drive the bigger trucks. You're obviously, with that statement, you're into all the different cars, into all the different things. Last question, just kind of wrapping this interview up. Obviously we get asked a lot, how can we tell Nissan we want this and things like that. And I always try to tell people, you got to be positive. You can't just, hey, y'all suck, everything's terrible, I want an Xterra. But is there a way where people can maybe reach out, obviously not directly to you, but maybe to Nissan? Is there a way where y'all kind of maybe monitor social media, see what people want? Is there a way where, a person can kind of say, hey, Nissan, I really would like this. I'd like to see this in a vehicle. Because obviously y'all do focus groups and everything. But if we got a listener out there who's like, hey, maybe I got a great idea, or maybe I'd like to see this in a vehicle. Is there a way for them to maybe reach out?
Obviously, we do a lot of social listening, but really go to your local dealer, have a conversation with them. Our local dealers, they boil up to a local dealer advisory board, and we're meeting with these guys every month. So if there's enough voice out there where we need to change something on a product or come out with something all new, of course we do a lot of market research and again social listening, but go to your local dealer, have that conversation with them, have the conversation with the management at that dealership, and eventually feedback gets to us. I mean, I just got off this website. Every weekend I get comments from every dealers across the country, and I read every single one of them. So talk to these guys. We've got a very open line of communication.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate your time, Billy. The sun's starting to come up, starting to get a little bit warm, so I think we're going to go hit the beach, relax. You're not leaving till later this evening. I got to get back right now, but always a pleasure seeing you. And any last words for the guys listening to the podcast? They're nationwide too now, and worldwide. Australia, we got listeners everywhere. Worldwide. So last words of advice from Billy Hayes, anything?
No, keep up the great work with the Holden effect and go out and buy yourself a Nissan.
Well, there you go, guys. And I put this out on Facebook once again. If you like these kind of interviews, man, you got to like and share this show, guys. The more in the face of Nissan we get, the more they're willing to talk to us and let us know things. So please, please.
You could obviously tell there, Billy knew about the Holden effect. Hashtag the Holden effect.
He did.
So he mentioned it twice. So for all you people who think we're lying when we say Nissan listens, I mean, how else would they know about the Holden effect?
Maybe it's
not like I'm going to tell the VP of Nissan Nation. Now, we got this thing called the Holden effect, and let me explain it to you real quick.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, it's probably like the 30 stickers that you put all over his Nissan Titan. I bet that's probably how he knew about it. But yeah, seriously, guys, like, for this show to grow, we need your help. And for us to want to continue to delve deeper into cars and travel with this show, like, I cannot push this hard enough of hey, man, show our sponsors love because they help fund us to these places. Like Holden says, talk to your dealership, but also mention that, hey man, the Nissan Nation podcast was talking about this, and hey, they had, whether it be a Brett Hagan on or Billy Hayes on or whoever you might hear down the road on. I think a lot of people in these days think that it's just all hearsay and BS when you see these couple monkeys out there, Holden, Danny, or us just being silly, and just throwing out stuff. No, guys, there's like, we, not to toot our own horn, but we each individually know people within the brand that we try to, what we're allowed to say, we try to bring it forward. And the good thing about us is we're not a corporate show, like we talked about a few podcasts later of, hey, what if Nissan, paid for you to do the show? Is like, no, I don't want that. We don't want that. We want to be independent. We want to give you the truth, but you also want to be able to, like Holden, if he's talking to and having a beer with this guy, like the guy, for one, he knows he's talking to somebody within the press and a dealer, but also you want him to just talk to us. So share this, guys. Please continue. You guys have done crazy for us already, and I hate to keep asking for more, but please share. And speaking of sharing, there's our buddy Jim Bob from what is it? Is it Nashville Overland, Holden? Is that his name?
Overland, Nashville.
Overland, Nashville. I always confuse that.
Get it right.
I know. He would be so disappointed with me right now. But That's why he
gave the exclusive interview to me instead of you.
That is true. But I have his phone number that I can call him up right now and bug him. Can you do that, Holden? That's the kind of celebrities I deal with all the time.
He drives from Overland, Nashville to Regal Nissan to get his car serviced.
Which is what I'm getting to, man. He just missed you. You were out on a trip the last time he went to get his truck serviced. But I guess kind of set this up a little bit, Holden. How did you get to meet greatness?
So he had messaged me and told me, "Hey, you're gonna be in?" And I was like, "Yeah." I told him, "Yeah, I work 9 to 9. I'll be there all day, so don't worry. I'll catch you whenever you're through." So I've cutting through the service shop and see a black Frontier there. And then I see a guy in jeans and work boots and a shirt and a hat. It was not one of my technicians in the hood in the engine bay of this Frontier. Lo and behold, Jim Bob, I guess, just took it upon himself to just go ahead and start working on his truck while the mechanic was getting the oil filter and oil from the parts department. I guess Jim Bob just couldn't wait any longer. He started working on his truck. So got to meet Jim Bob, gave him a big old tour of the whole dealership. And then, I told him, I was like, we can't not do an interview for Nissan Nation with you being here. So we did a little interview for y'all.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you now the Holden effect with Jim Bob of, what is it, Nashville Overland, right, Holden?
Overland, Nashville.
Overland, Nashville, here on the Nissan Nation podcast.
All right, what is going on, Nissan Nation? We are here live at Regal Nissan. We're actually in a secret spot that not a lot of people know about. It's the Secret Truck Center that's about to open up later this month. Who cares about that right now? Because we got bigger fish to fry. I am here live right now with a world-famous celebrity, Mr. Jim Bob from Overland, Nashville.
Hey, y'all. This is Jim Bob. Y'all got to come down to Regal. This place is great. Anywho, we're going to get back to Holden. He's got more to talk about.
So pulling to work today, all of a sudden I'm walking back through my shop and I see a guy that I don't recognize under the hood of a truck. And I was like, I think I know that truck. I think that's Jim Bob. And so Jim Bob just decided upon himself, he was just going to go and start working on his own truck, waiting for my technician to pull his oil filter and everything. I walk over there. He's got some wires in his hand and some other whatnot. Jim Bob, what exactly were you doing?
Fixing my ghetto rigged fuse. Okay, I took my fuse broke, so I put a wire in the hole to get it going correctly, so my LED fog lights would work properly.
And we all know the importance of LED fog lights. Without them, you can't see in the fog. So yeah, we talked a little bit under his truck, and, gave him the grand tour. Jim Bob, what'd you think about the grand tour?
The grand tour was spectacular. Y'all got to come down to Regal Nissan. Like I said, this place is great.
Yeah, I tend to agree. We're down here trying to make Nissans great again, I guess is maybe what Jim Bob would say. What do you think about that, Jim Bob? Is that what you'd say?
MAGA, baby. We're going to make Nissan great again.
So, anyways, we're down here walking around the Titans. We've looked at Xteras, or the Xterra, the only Xterra here, which is mine. Looking at Titans, looking at Frontiers, looking at NV passenger vans, NV cargo vans, the whole nine. Like I said, we got a truck center. We're going to be opening it up. Jim Bob, what do you think? What do you think about having a building and sales team that's dedicated to just trucks?
I think having a sales team dedicated to just trucks is going to make America great again, because everyone's got to have a truck, okay? If you want to be a truck person, you got to come to Nissan Regal and get yourself a truck. Back to Holden.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's all about trucks. Trucks. I like trucks. So we're going to have truck sales team. I'm actually looking to hire some guys. So, Jim Bob, he doesn't have to know a lot. Just his enthusiasm alone may make for a great salesperson. What do you think, Jim Bob? You think you could sell some Titans?
For $1 million, I'll do just about anything.
Well, you heard it there, folks. If you got any millionaires listening, I don't know if we do. But if we do, for $1 million, Jim Bob said he will do anything. Well, it's kind of cold out here, and I'm tired of standing in the cold. So, Jim Bob, we're going to wrap this up. Any last words of wisdom, any guidance, something to send our listeners off to the rest of the week? Because it's probably going to be Tuesday. People might be driving to work listening to this. What's some guidance for their day, for the rest of their week? What do you got for our listeners?
Well, you got to wake up and piss excellence, okay? You really got to wake up, eat your bowl of Wheaties, and say a prayer to the good Lord above, because he's listening, and he's going to be there. So if you're not saying a good prayer, then I don't know what you're doing. Anyway, Jim Bob is out. Y'all have a great day, and we'll talk to y'all later.
There you go, guys. It's as crazy as it sounds when you meet a celebrity like that, and I'm surprised that you kept yourself as composed and you did that interview so well.
Well, I went ahead and got my girly shrieks and the autographs in before the interview, so I was able to, be a little more calm once the interview kicked off.
Of course. Well, if the big deal was here, I know he'd be excited by that, but I know he's also had a chance to hear that pregame in a little bit, and I know Danny trips out when Mr. Jim Bob does his thing.
This is still super in the works, and who knows if it will even happen, so we won't even say what it is. But maybe, just maybe, if and when the big deal comes out to the ATL for whatever business he may be taking care of, maybe we'll get him in touch with old Jim Bob. Maybe I'll give Jim Bob a call.
Could it be a trifecta plus one? Could we do a podcast like that? A trifecta plus one?
Maybe.
Wow.
Maybe.
I can't imagine those two together. Like, because, Danny can go out there on a limb, and I know Jim Bob can go out there on a limb. That would be that's like Civil War times. It's like North versus South, or it's like East Coast, West Coast, like the fun they could have there, man.
Yeah. That'd be pretty crazy.
That would be pretty crazy. So stay tuned, guys. You never know what's going on here in the Nissan Nation podcast. So as we shift this thing down into second gear here, and we see the driveway, and we're about to put it in the garage. Holden, what you got going on, man? I got holidays coming up, and I want to say yesterday was or is it today? Yes, Sunday was actually Veterans Day, correct?
Yeah, they did some weird. Sunday was actually Veterans Day, but then I guess all the government employees could get off. Today was the observance of Veterans Day, because those government people, they always got to make sure they get their days off.
You got to get your time off there, man. And I want to give a big shout out to you and Danny, man, and thank you guys for your service and your commitment to what you did for our country, and any serviceman, no matter where you are in the world, man. It doesn't matter if I hate to say you're for us or against us, but it is a commitment out of your life to defend what you believe in, man. So my hat's off to you guys. And with that, it's time to spin the wheel of winter views. And we're gonna, as we did last podcast, and we ended out on it, man. We're gonna spin the wheel, and I have no idea which one's coming, guys. So stay tuned for that. But from everybody here at the Nissan Nation podcast, to my buddy JR, who should be back on the show very, very soon, to my beautiful wife Kelly, to Holden over there in the ATL, and to my amigo Danny out in, well, I can't say he's in SoCal. He's in somewhere in between the land of frost and the land of sun. We'll just leave it at that. My name is David Boyd, and what are we holding?
Out.
Peace, everybody. Love y'all. Stay tuned for the winter view.
All right, so it's end of day 1 of wheeling. We got group, 30, 33, 11, then we just decided to throw some 13. We've just done a little bit of everything. So earlier in the day, we heard a kind of loud bang. Everyone was kind of talking. Matt was doing an obstacle. We were all just watching. Loud bang, so then we went over, started spotting them. So that was about halfway through the trail, right, Matt?
Yeah, that was probably about 4 hours ago.
So we do some trail. Matt gets stuck a couple times, needs some recoveries, and we get off the trailhead. And describe to us what we're looking at, Matt.
Well, the one CV doesn't seem to be attached at all anymore. It's a little floppy. Definitely not in 4-wheel drive anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of flopping all over the place, just like Danny's dick on a warm Friday night. So not the best thing to have happen. Do you have an extra, Matt?
I carry 2 spare CVs with me at all times.
So this will not be a problem.
This will not be a problem. We're going to go back to the pavilion and put it back together.
And I personally think that Matt sabotaged me because he's supposed to be trail leading. He didn't have anyone sign up for his groups. So then he decided to go with me, so I made him my tail gunner, and now he broke the CV on purpose to make me look bad because he doesn't want me to win Trail Leader of the Year award. Is that what happened?
That is exactly what happened.
Damn it.
Plan all along, so.
Damn it, I knew it. All right, well, that concludes a winter view from the first day. Matt, and I'm going to drive back and take care of his floppy situation he's got going on.